Hey everyone, my name is Anders, and today we are going to go over the test server patch for Black Desert this week. No class balance again. We do have one change to Wusa and Megu max HP buff effect from their skills, the Suck Megu class buff for example. What is confusing is the wording on this note. It says before this change, the skill would just increase your max HP by 1000, and now it will maintain the ratio, so if you are at 90% health, you will still be at 90% health after using the skill, meaning you would get a 1000 HP recovery effect with this new change. The only problem is that it's already working like this on live servers, so maybe I'm missing something. There were no obvious changes, so hopefully someone else, or maybe when it hits live servers, we get a better idea of what they meant by this change. For other updates, Guild League is getting some more improvements. First, they admit that the new maps have not been well received at all, and they are looking at feedback, and there may be some less popular maps removed or modified in the future. Next, they added more score brackets and rules to allow the matchmaking to give you matches more often, even if your guild has a high score. What ends up happening is the more you win, the less matches you tend to find until you end up waiting and finding no fights at all. So these changes are meant to hopefully remedy that and also help lower tier guilds get more matches with similarly skilled opponents. Now when you lose 15 points instead of 10. The K has been added to the higher bracket since we have new brackets as well, and they have changed the bonus points to apply only to those under a score of 400. Lastly, the notifications related to Guild League will no longer apply when the match is in progress. For War of the Roses, a UI has been added to track your own performance. The Sanctum buff has been nerfed yet again. The damage inflicted by the Light of Camasylvia and the Darkness of Odalita has been increased to their respective opposing faction. The resurrection location of each Sanctum has been changed to revive in an area slightly away from the Sanctum. Players who receive a penalty for participating as part of the 3rd Legion will not be able to participate in War of the Roses, even as a leader guild. And after the War of the Roses ends, Guild League matching will become available. For other updates, adventure logs have been made easier across the board for new players, less items needed overall. Instead of Quint World Boss, you can now just kill trolls in that area for that particular adventure log. You will now need to catch a horse instead of breeding. More time for the Herald's Log objectives as well. All good things for new players. For guilds, guild drilling is no more. I don't think anyone had anything good to say about guild drilling, so instead we have better guild skills. Life XP plus 40% for 2 hours, item drop rate plus 10% for 2 hours, and combat XP plus 200% and skill XP plus 50% for 2 hours. All of these will be enhanced versions of the already normal guild buffs we have, so if you level up the item drop rate buff of 2% to the new 10% version, you can't use the old one anymore, only the 10% version. They've also consolidated cooldown timers. Every guild skill will now be on a 4-hour cooldown. They have also added new skills to add more guild storage slots, 20 guild points for 7 additional slots. For item updates, they have revamped the Refined Essence of Emotions item, which is the cup extraction item you need. Now you will need 10 Forest Fury, 200 Magical Shard, and 20 Fused Crystal of Emotions. The Fused Crystal of Emotions can be crafted as before, but can now also be bought from the blacksmith for 50 million silver each. They did away with needing Legacy of Ancient and the Fragments of All Creation. Instead, now you're gonna need 100 more Magical Shards, and you can also now just buy the Fused Crystal of Emotions if you don't want to grind for the shards. They've also made it so you can mass process sealed black magic crystals by using Blackstone Powder, which is a very good change. Blood and meat icons have been unified into 2 for each, so you can distinguish which you need. Kabua Fragment and Embers of Resonance can now be ordered up to 5 at a time. Manor and furniture items had some description changes. As for monster changes, Abandoned Monastery, Tenkuda, Paddocks, Gyphon Underground, Star's End, Sakraya Underground, Histria, Thornwood, Akhmin, and Kratuga now all have higher AP caps, and the HP of monsters in these areas have been increased as well to compensate. They've also added a way for you to see each zone AP cap on the Monster Zone UI, so you can see if you have reached the cap or not, and this is not going to be visible unless you enable the display all stats on the UI to avoid confusing new players. So by default, if you see an area that asks for 310 AP for example, you have 320, you you meet the criteria. But if you enable the new option, you'll see that the new area AP is 950 and the cap is 1000, and you only have 900 AP. It gives us a lot more information, and it helps those trying to build for a certain grind. Crypt had a daily change with improved rewards. Elvia's Soundwell Camp Elite will now spawn closer to you. The Kebi chest in Land of the Morning Light will now emit a beam of light showing you where they are if you're close enough, so you can more easily find them. And for UI updates, the auto store option now includes inventory slots from the Pearl tab. And lastly, for Ataraxion, you will no longer auto select the first dungeon. Instead, you will need to select which area you wish to enter, then press enter. This is to avoid accidentally entering the first dungeon without meaning to. Those are all the updates for this week. Let me know what you think about these quality of life heavy updates recently in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.